So I'm live on YouTube, now going live on Facebook, and finally Instagram. I should be live on all our platforms. So welcome everybody to this weekly live Q&A from now. I'm extremely happy to be here with you all. Today in particular, we're going to tackle the topic of our crowdfunding and how your funds that are donating to us are going to be allocated, and how we want to make the world a better place, more democratic, more free, and better for everyone. So welcome everybody to this live Q&A. Let's just wait a couple of minutes for people to connect, and we're going to unpackage our crowdfunding efforts together. I see already some people joining, Colombe, Zoe from our team, but also many other on Instagram. I see also Facebook is going well. Very happy to see so many people joining on this wonderful sunny day in London, and I hope wherever you are as well. So let's tackle the first topic of this live Q&A, crowdfunding. If you have followed now, if you went on our website, you might have noticed that these days we are raising funds for probably one of the most important campaigns that we've ever launched. Is our Freedom campaign, our League of Democracies campaign, our Wave of Freedom campaign. Why are we raising money here? As if you follow our movement for a while, you know that we're a very small team. It's right now me, Colombe, and Zoe behind the screen, following also this live. We are managing several campaigns. We are building communities all over the planet. We're really working extremely hard to make sure that the dream of a global movement pushing for against the erosion of democracy, against climate change, against vaccine nationalism becomes a reality. And it's very tough to do that in 3 people, but we've managed so far. But now that the G7 is approaching, the big meeting of major democracies is going to take place in June here in the United Kingdom. We want to make sure that our 8-month efforts on the campaign of freedom lead to the results that we wish for. We want to make sure that in June this year, the G7 declares the creation, or at least push forward the creation of a League of Democracy, of an international coalition of major democratic countries coming together to protect and innovate democracy. That's our dream. That's what we have worked very hard for many, many months. And the crowdfunding that you see on our website, that you see in many of our communication, is aimed at strengthening our team for that goal, is aimed at supporting our communities to campaign for that goal, is aimed at making possible this dream of a stronger coalition for democracy that we really, really wish is going to come to life before it's too late for many countries and many communities all over the planet. So we are aiming to raise $25,000. We already raised almost $4,000 in just over a week. So thank you so much for those that have helped. Thank you so much for those that have participated. And let me unpackage for you how we want to spend this $25,000 and why every dollar can count. So if you navigate to the crowdfunding page, and I'm sure our team will share on Instagram, probably is already done on Facebook and so on. On our crowdfunding page, there is a link to a very beautifully formatted Google Sheet that basically represents the budget of this campaign. We're very transparent. We're very forthcoming in the way we spend your money if you decide to donate. I want to make sure that all of you have a full disclosure on how we're going to allocate these $25,000 that we are striving to raise with your support. So there are 3 main expenses that we want to cover with these funds. The first one is what we call local organizing. Local organizing is everything from marketing material that we need to print to protest all over the planet, to our staff member dedicated to supporting volunteers all over the planet to organize protests and actions, to our software that allow for people to reach other now members that are near to them. So everything related to local organizing is slightly expensive, and for that reason, we are raising funds. And as you can see in this document that is shared on the platform, is a substantial amount of money that we're trying to raise is actually allocated to local organizing. It's roughly half of our monthly expenses for the Freedom Campaign. The second major topic is advocacy. You can't organize only, you need to advocate for change, right? And to advocate for change, we need to make our voice heard all over the planet. How do we do that? Through social media, especially because of this pandemic, through our wonderful website that is very powerful, well crafted, and through also events and conferences. This is the best way we know to make our voice heard, and this is what we are pushing very hard for. If you go on this document, you're going to see that it's another big voice kind of cost item, almost as big as the local organizing one. And you're going to see that we want to invest more on social media, we want to improve our website, and want to organize a wonderful Freedom Conference in September this year, as we did last year, with great results. So if you donate to this crowdfunding, you're gonna find very concrete results, because you're gonna see our conference in September coming to life, and hopefully reuniting freedom fighters, artists, politicians, experts from all over the planet to fight for freedom together. And finally, we have another item that we call lobbying. That is not the traditional American way to understanding lobbying, but more like the international way of kind of reaching out to stakeholders, a decision maker, and asking them to change their mind, asking them to advance a point, asking them to make sure that they join an effort to create a legal democracy. And for that, we need to sometimes head to these people and convince them in person. We need to have support from legislators, support from staff that can craft legislation. So these are smaller expenses that you can see in the file that we have on our website. Is kind of 10% of our monthly budget for this campaign, but it's still a substantial amount of money. It's still something that any one of you with a small donation can help us raise. So if you have a few dollars, euros, pounds, or any other currency spared for this month, if you feel that what's going on in Myanmar is a huge shame for our planet, what's going on in Hong Kong today with the change of the electoral law is something that you would never ever expected to see in your lifetime. If you are incredibly saddened by all the freedom struggles across the planet, they are not succeeding, please help us. Join us in this quest. Together, we can change the planet. Together, we can make sure that democracy prevails. To do so, we need to advocate for change. We need to fight for change. And to do so, even a small donation in this crowdfunding can tilt the balance in our favor and ensure that the G7 in June leads to some kind of results in this direction. And I swear, even small support can be incredibly instrumental to this project. 8 months ago, we started with a little sign in front of an embassy, and we went a long way from there. We reached more than 4 million people. We did great things for freedom and democracy with the staff of 3 people. Think about what can we do if we get a bit more support. Think about what can we do if we become a bit stronger. I don't know why my Instagram live just crashed, so I'll go back live there as well. Sorry about that. So it's really important that you all participate if you can. If you can't, I understand, it's completely fine. If you cannot participate to this crowdfunding, at least share the news, at least push other people that you know to participate, to care about this very important and fundamental challenge for all of us. Sorry to my Instagram followers, we dropped 1 second, but we are back online. And I was saying, if you can donate, please share. This is also important. But let's go back to the topic of freedom and democracy, because today we want to make this live about that. As I said, our campaign is in full swing. We're doing our best to raise funds. We're doing our best to advocate for change among decision makers, stakeholders, and politicians. But the news that are coming our way are terrible. Obviously, you might have heard about what's going on in Myanmar, where the military junta and military government has taken over the country despite fair election being conducted in the past, and is really, really cracking down not only on freedom, not only on democracy, but on people. It's not anymore about individual freedoms being curtailed, is about lives. We have seen scenes of the military personnel shooting on a crowd of protesters, and also on a crowd at a funeral. We have seen incredible atrocities happening in Myanmar in the last few days, and we're extremely saddened by that. And we understand even more the important role that freedom and democracy plays in everyday lives and in the life of all of us. And it's fundamental that we uphold this freedom and democracy all over the planet. And remember, even if you're in a free country, it's free because people like us before you fought for their freedom. So don't forget that we need to fight together. We need to stand for those that are less lucky than us. And we need to ensure that democracy prevail in the long run. And I mentioned Myanmar, but I also want to mention Hong Kong once more. As you probably have read, there's been a recent change in the electoral law of the city, and basically Hong Kong is not anymore a democratic city, a democratic territory. It wasn't fully democratic before, but now it's clear that if you don't basically follow the government guidelines and the government political lines, you can't stand for elections. And even if you could, the seats allocated to representative are so small, is such a small number that you can't really change things. So clearly we have lost democracy in Hong Kong. Is an extremely sad moment for all of us, especially here in the United Kingdom. In 1997 handed back the territory to China. In foresight, it was a huge mistake because Hong Kong has lost a huge lot of freedom and democracy in exchange of potentially some economic benefit, or I don't know what. But I'm really sad for what's going on today in Hong Kong, and I hope that in our lifetime we see better times for the territory and for all of us. So Myanmar, Hong Kong, Venezuela, many freedom struggles are currently, sadly, in a difficult position, a difficult moment. And us, people like us, standing in free countries, cannot forget our duty. And our duty is the one of pressuring our governments, the international institutions, and the public in general to care about what's going on in these places. I find it incredible that the United Nations cannot take a stance on what's going on in Myanmar, cannot impose sanctions, arms embargo, or send in peacekeepers when people are slaughtered in their own houses. I find it incredible that in Venezuela people are starved, often sometimes to death, and do not have access to medicines, to food, and still the international community cannot do anything to support them. And Maduro is still in power. All of these things are not logical to me, but they are happening. So we must fight back. We cannot just scroll our feed on Facebook, feel very sad for 1 second, and forget about it the minute after. It's not human, it's not ethical. So I'm calling upon everyone following this live to do more for freedom and democracy, either by donating to our crowdfunding, either by volunteering, or doing anything else with any other organization that is at the forefront of this fight. But don't stay idle. Don't forget that as we speak, as we are doing this live, it's highly likely that someone is being killed all over the planet for their political belief. It's highly likely that someone has been in prison because they said the wrong thing. It's highly likely that someone has been tortured as we speak because they believe in freedom and democracy. And I hope, and I'm saying this, and I know it's strong, but I hope that any decent human being is feeling guilty because we are not doing enough. Is feeling guilty because we are not fighting back strong enough. Is feeling guilty because we are losing this battle for freedom and democracy. Democracy is in retreat since many years. Authoritarian regimes are free to continue their crackdowns, and they are gaining ground. They are gaining influence. There are more and sad episodes happening all over the planet. So if you care about your society, your freedom, if you care about the freedom of those coming after us, our children, our grandchildren, we must stand back. We must fight back. We must stand together with those that are suffering right now. And as I said at the beginning of this live, sadly, freedom, democracy are not given things. people have fought very hard in the past to win them. Our grandparents, our great-grandparents, sometimes our parents have fought incredibly hard to ensure that we would not live under an authoritarian regime. And now it's our duty to do the same for the people of the world. So if you can, if you have, as I said at the beginning of this live, if you have time, money, or simply friends that can help, please support this fight. Please do not give up on freedom. Do not look the other way. It never works. If you look the other way, the problem will come to you. So here from London, I'm doing my best to support. I'm in a safe space, like not many other people on this planet, and I'm dedicating my times, my energies to ensure that people are a bit freer all over the planet. Please do the same whenever you have the time, whenever you have the energy, but don't forget about this message. Thank you so much for joining this live. It's been a great pleasure. I hope to see you again, either in Now or in other organization, to fight for freedom with us. Thank you so much.